I'm going to show you now how to do lesson 2, task 2. Calculate the volume and area of a sphere after the user enters the radius. So let's be clear what we're talking about here. A sphere it's a shape like a ball, and we're going to calculate the volume and the area. So for the volume, have a look here. It's shaped like that. The radius is the distance from the very center to the edge. And the formula for finding the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. So first of all, we need the radius. So I'm going to say that r is input. Enter the radius. And then I'm going to convert r to a float. Now what this means is we accept the fact that the radius may involve decimals. And in case it does, we're going to let the computer know that we're going to do arithmetic with r that may involve decimals. So we convert it to floating point. When the person types it in with input, it comes in as a string, which really just means the computer understands it as a sequence of characters, one after the other after the other. We're now getting it to understand that this is actually a number that we can then do math with. So r is the radius, and our volume is going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. So I'm going to say V for volume is equal to 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by r, and r is going to be cubed. So have a close look at that line. The 4/3 gives me the 4 divided by 3. And then that asterisk or star means multiply, so it's going to multiply that by pi, which is 3.14. We're then going to further multiply that by r, which is the radius the person's entered. And remember, at this point, we've already converted it to floating point. And then the star means what will follow from here is an exponent. That's how you indicate an exponent. And the exponent here is 3. So you can see that agrees with our formula here. Volume is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. And then we want to print that out so that whoever's using the program can see it. And we're going to tell them the volume is, and then after a comma, I'm going to place my V. And then in a minute, I'll do the same thing with surface area. So let's just test this. Enter the radius. So let's say I give it a radius of 10, and it's telling me the volume is 4,186.67. Now, we can just check that using Google's calculator here. Let's say we enter a volume of 10, 418879. And we got here 4186.66. Now, why would those answers be different? Pi is an irrational number. And that means it's this endless decimal that keeps going on. I put in 3.14, which is a nice close estimate. However, we can make it more accurate. It's 3.14159. And now when I enter 10, it gives me the 4188.79, which is the same accuracy as Google's calculator here. Okay, so that finds volume. Now let's find the area. So A for area. The area is equal to, now let me look up the formula here. The area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. So I'm going to say the area is equal to 4 times, so star for times, pi, which is 3.14159, times r, so another star r, and r is squared, and we square in Python by doing a double star and a 2. So a double star and a 3 means cubed, and a double star and a 2 means squared. And then I'm going to print to the screen that the area is A. Now let me run that, and then we'll round it, we'll clean it up, and we'll put in some comments. which is always good practice when you're programming. So enter the radius. So let's say the radius is 15, and it's telling us the volume is 14,000, and the surface area is 2,800. Now we can just check to make sure that that's right. So we have 15, and we've got 2,827, just as we'd found here, 2,827. Now, it looks a little bit messy. The way Google's calculator works, it looks a lot cleaner. Let's maybe try and clean ours up a little bit. So first of all, let's put in a comment for each line. Now, in general, you want to comment not every line that is not completely obvious to you or to anyone reading your program, and you should certainly comment each block. So this lets user input radius. That's what this does. Now what does this do? This converts R to a data type that understands decimals. You see, if I never did this, it wouldn't let me do math with it. Or if I converted it, if I put int to convert it to an integer, it would take away any decimals that the person had put in there. Now this is the formula for volume of a sphere. Now remember, that's only volume of a sphere. If it's a different geometric shape, it would be a different formula. And now we're going to print our answer. Okay. Now the only thing I don't really like about this is, let's say I put in a 12.2. See these long chain of decimals at the end here? We don't really need all of that. Let's maybe keep a couple of them. So I'm going to round it first. So I'm going to say V is equal to round V comma 2. That'll give me 2 decimal places. And then same thing with A. Notice I'm putting in the command to round it after I've calculated it. If you round it before you calculate it, it's not really going to work, because when it gets recalculated, that'll undo whatever it is you've done. It's after rounding it that you need to calculate it. So A is equal to, we're going to round A, and I'm going to round that to 2 decimal places as well. So let's put in a comment here. That rounds volume to 2 decimal places. And I'll let you put in the comments for these on your own. This would be the formula for area. And so here we're rounding the area. And then here we are printing the area. All right, so let's give this a try. So let's say I put in a volume of 12.2. Sorry, I put in a radius of 12.2. It gives me a volume, it gives me an area, and it's now rounded my decimals. I'm asking for 2 decimal places. The reason why there'd only be 1 here is the one after it must be a 0. So I'll leave this here just for a minute if you want to press pause and then copy that out. When you're doing so, make sure that you've got a single asterisk for multiply and a double asterisk to indicate an exponent afterwards. You have the same thing right here. And also watch, I often see people make mistakes in here with quotes and commas. That variable V has to be outside of the quotations, whereas the sentence, the volume is, has to be inside of the quotations. And then we separate those with a comma.